Shalom. Kal halalim la Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakaha Kodash, Barakti Yahweh, Barakti Yahweh Shai, Barakti Yahweh, Barakti Yahweh Shai, Barakti Yahweh, Barakti Yahweh Shai. Kal halalim la Abanoah Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakaha Kodash. Okay. All praises, honor, glory, blessings, and power be unto Father Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakaha Kodash. Okay, and double honors to our apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone that rule well, and shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000 and one third. May peace and blessings and the spirit of endurance be upon you and your households. Okay, there's a couple of things on my mind, and I just before I, thought about what I was thinking. I always thought, I always try and check the verse of the day as well. See, which way the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yashai will lead me spiritually, because I always read the verse of the day, because sometimes the Lord speaks through you, through his verses of the day. Sometimes it could be through our prophets, our elders on down, the mouthpiece of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. It could be through certain scriptures, verses of the day. Elder Amawan Gabar posts verses of the day. So the Lord speaks, right? Whether it's spiritual numbers or other beautiful ways Yahweh Bashem Yashai does it. And it was Luke 14:27. Now, it's a verse of the day. All right, King James Version. Please disregard the cross. Okay. Please disregard the cross. But I'm just going by the verse of the day, KJV. All right. Luke 14:27. And whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Okay. Now, I thought, let me check out the NLT, because sometimes there's slightly more clarity, because the King James Version, I believe you call it Jacobean English, which is a beautiful form of English, but, as we've regressed, well, the world has regressed anyway, the Israelites, the elect are progressing, not regressing. But, for the most part, this world has regressed, and a lot of people don't have understanding, in terms of the English language. So I thought, let me get the NLT and the GNT. And it's pretty straightforward, of course, but I thought just check it out. And if you do not carry your own cross and follow me, you cannot be my disciple. All right. Let's go to the GNT, Good News Translation. Good news for who? The elect, the Israelites, not for any of you non-Israelites. Okay. And it's not good news for you 2/3 either, because you MFs want to stay in this world. And you unelect, you want to stay in this world. Luke 14:27 again, GNT. Those who do not carry their own cross and come after me cannot be my disciples. Now let's go to the definition of what a cross could be. Just bear with me one moment, please. What is the definition of bearing your cross in Luke 14:27 KJV? Or the meaning of it, I should have said meaning. Okay. All right. AI overview. In Luke 14:27, bearing your cross signifies a daily voluntary commitment to total surrender, self-denial, and obedience to Hamashiach, regardless of the personal cost, suffering, or shame involved. Okay? And the shame involved. Okay, the shame involved. And the elect go through humiliation. We've hoped for elect go through the humiliation. We've had our little we go through that daily for the most part. But hope for elect go through their various levels of humiliation. All right, so it's a total surrender. Proverbs 20:24. Man's goings are of the Lord, then how can a man understand his own ways? All right, you hope for elect are going through, you're bearing your cross. Okay, you're bearing your cross. You're dealing with your bodily ailments. All right, whether it's neck issues, back issues, lower back issues, upper back issues, the dislocation of the shoulder. Like with me, for example, I used to dislocate my shoulder damn near every week, 20 plus years ago. Every week, it'd pop out. I'll be going to the hospital, getting them rubber bands. What do you call them? The rubber bands to do stretches and exercises to strengthen the ligaments. Okay. But Brakti HaBashim Hashai, over a period of time, the Lord has healed me. But the ailments are still there, but the Lord has given me ways to deal with it. Like Elder Kanak of GMS San Francisco. I believe the elders, visiting various camps. The elder brother made an excellent video. I believe he was in Elder Bishop Inap's yard, you know, one of the bishops anyway. And he was doing a video, I believe it's 20 minutes. Excellent video of stretches and things of that nature you can do multiple times a day. All right. So, to deal with the issues that we have. Okay. Bearing your cross could be bodily ailments, financial ailments, but the Lord brings you out of it because the Lord's not going to put his elect into financial difficulty where you're begging. His elect are not going to be begging. They're going to be earning their daily bread, or their provisions are going to be provided. Okay. The provisions are going to be provided. All right. And also leaving everything to Hamashiach, denying this world, not going clubbing anymore, not hanging out with people from the past. I've got this spirit on me where I don't even want to deal with new ninjas. I don't want to deal with, new making new friends. Fuck all that, man. You know what I mean? I was going to the supermarket many months ago, right? It was a person I knew from back in the day when I was, as they say, so-called in the world. He was an ex-dealer, maybe he's still a dealer, He goes, yeah. What's happening? I said, yeah, what's happening? He goes, you want to link up? I said, what up? He goes, yeah, man, let's go and, chief one up, innit, smoke some herb or whatever. I said, listen, man, I don't do that no more, man. I strictly drink, man wanted to, stay in touch. Say, let's link up, innit, we can session up. As we say in the UK, we say, let's have a session, which means drinking and smoking weed. Nothing wrong with drink, of course, and nothing wrong with herb taken in a lawful context, for bodily ailments, like you make tea out of it or whatever, right? But for the most part, that's only for medicinal reasons. But you're not supposed shouldn't be smoking a damn thing. And I don't want to be on the street corner or in someone's back garden, being around. Even if I'm not smoking, which I'm not going to do, okay, Lord forbid that nonsense, right? I don't want to be around people that smoke weed, man. I don't want to be around people that talk worldly bullshit. It's like I'm fed up of people like that. I prefer, for the most part, to be alone. I like my own company. I have to even talk to myself. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yeshai, I know that I'm talking to the Lord when I'm talking to myself. You could be talking to angelic brothers we see around us. You Jakes, you see them in the spirit. You can see them cloaked images around you moving. It's more than likely a chariot, or an orb, you're talking, all right? And as Jake would say, as Benjamin would say in the UK, let's reason together. And I reason with my brothers, my angelic brothers around me, Or if you've got children, you speak to your children, your immediate family. I don't want to be around people of the world, man. Only time, Jake wants to be around a person of the world is a female, a beautiful single female, obviously because there's that male and female dynamic, and what I'm leading to with that, right? The male and female dynamic, what a female provides, right? So hence the reason that's a different ball. That's a different kettle of fish. All right. And you should be in that mindset where you want to leave this damn world behind, dealing with your bodily ailments, dealing with whatever issues you are. And you shouldn't be in the situation of, or other people are having fun, I want to join in. That's part of dealing with your, bearing your cross. All right. Denying this world. And after a little while, first it's hard, you try and sort of join in thinking, man, I want to join. I want to have some fun too. And you weren't doing nothing unlawful. You just wanted to hang out. But after a little while, when it comes to 2, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, you're getting home after the club, thinking to myself, and even in the 90s when I did that, I didn't really enjoy myself. I came home feeling shitty, Even if you got a woman out of it, you still didn't feel right. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. Right? Even now, obviously, we're approach. I've been into a club in 10 years, by the way. So this is like going way back. As I'm thinking through time, over a period of time, you start shedding and leaving this world behind. You understand? And that's how you should be. And you bear your cross. And over a period of time, Yahweh Hashem Yeshai, because that's why this world is falling apart, because the elect have been spiritually pulled out. Okay. Okay. So you deal with your cross, man. You bear it. Okay. Whatever it could be. It could be physical. It could be mental. It could be financial. But the Lord Yahweh Shemashai, this is what you call, this is a test, by the way. Okay. All right. This is a test. Okay. This whole simulation that we're going through, if you want to call it a simulation, this whole process of being, we're in a huge prison. Babylon is a huge prison. The so-called white man's rulership is a huge prison, especially Ground Zero America, the UK, Australia, wherever Jake is scattered. It's a huge prison. We're not meant to be comfortable here. All right? We're not meant to be comfortable here. All right? Let's go to some scriptures. All right? Let's go to Matthew. What's KJV? Matthew 24 and 11. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many, but the elect are not going to get deceived, okay? You got lots of false prophets around. You got these worldly, wacky-tacky Christians. You got Bishop Nate. You got ISUPK. You got GOCC. All right? Those are traps and snares set up to catch the unelect, the two-thirds. Zechariah 13 and 8. All right? The two-thirds. All right? And one-third, Zechariah 13 and 9. The two-thirds are going to be caught in it, caught in the snare, but the one-third are going to make it through the purification process, okay? All right? And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Verse 12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And we've seen that daily as well, judgment going out, people being deleted. You know, I made a video yesterday of an Eve and her daughter who chopped up the matriarch, which is the mother of the Eve, right? And the granddaughter joined in. They chopped her up into 64, I believe 60 plus little individual parts and barbecued her ass because they were stealing from her. And the grandma confronted her daughter, but the daughter juked her up, chainsaw and all. All right? The love of many is waxing cold. And we see judgment going out daily. And if you've noticed, I don't know, in my particular YouTube feed, it's a whole bunch of black women, man. All right? Other women too, but mainly it's Eve. All right? That's why judgment's going to her. She can't grow no hair. She's ugly as fuck. She smells. Now, this is not overall. There's anomalies, of course, but for the most part, right? All right? Because she's Esau's sidekick. That's why black women can come online, talk to KKK members, and say they want the KKK to delete all so-called black men. You know? This is your queen. All right? Verse 12. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. All right? Endurance. You have to endure. Whatever you're going through, you got to endure. You think the Lord's going to give you spiritual power just by jumping through a few hoops. It's not going to be a few hoops. It's going to be many, many, many hoops. All right? Okay? You're going to go through your stresses. You're going to go through your jealousy. You're going to go through periods where in your life as a Jake, if you haven't experienced a woman betraying you or leaving you or so-called cheating on you, all right, that's a blessing. But then again, a lot of us, hope for elect, have experienced that. All right. I myself was married once, not no more. We've all experienced betrayal. All right. And then through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemashai, I understood that because we as Israelites got punished for worshipping other gods. And our power is a jealous power. We're we're Yahweh Shemashai's woman. So that's why the Lord Yahweh Shemashai put the spirit on us to feel jealousy, rage that somebody humbled your ex-woman and opened up her legs. You know what I mean? Because we opened up our spiritual legs to other doctrines. Hence the reason our power, what did our power do? As a man, as an Israelite man, if you're a woman, you caught your woman being plowed by another man, right? Or another man of another nation, for example. What are you going to do? You want to get a machete and get busy, right? Exactly. That's how much Yahweh Shemashai was angry with us, man. And even though Esau, Edom, and the heathens, Esau, Edom especially, went above and beyond, we still, have come past that, and we're still going through, the ups and downs and the issues. Okay, but we all experienced that. That's how much the Lord, was vexed with us. Okay. And because, loosely paraphrasing the scripture, Yahweh Shemeshai is a jealous power. The Lord has the same emotions as we do. The same emotions. Exodus 15:3. The Lord is a man of war. Right? Yahweh Shemeshai is the ultimate drama king. Okay? That's why his men, back in the day, if in the world, they were probably the same way. Yeah, you want drama? Come, let's go. Let's get busy. Probably, whoop your ass straight away, because a lot of our prophets and elders are pretty good with their hands. Martial artists, boxers, MMA, Taekwondo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know, they're, as Jake would say, Benjamin would say, they're bad man. You know, that you don't want to f around, man. You don't want to f around with some of our apostles, especially when they were young men. But even now, they can get busy. And wait till that power comes. All right, okay. And I say all that to say this, okay, that you've got to go, you've got to endure. All right, and being in the world, right, you learn lessons from that, so you don't repeat that when you're in the truth. Okay, but it takes time to go through and changing, because change doesn't happen overnight. All right, it takes time for change. All right, the same way we fell from our rulership and we fell into slavery, it took time. All right, Esau started creeping in. All right, our rulership was fading during the dark ages, and then we fell. Right, so forth and so on. All right, and let's read this again. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. All right. Sometimes I lose my train of thought because I talk a little too much, and I've got a habit of that. Salakia for that. I was trying to get to a point. I was talking about the elders having power. Can whoop your ass or whatever. And verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And we're seeing that, our apostles and elders. All right. Oh yeah. The Lord is a man of war. Exodus 15:3. We have the same emotions as our power. All right. Okay. And Yahweh Shemeshai is the ultimate drama king. And you know how Jake is in the world, say, you want drama? You want drama? I'll give you drama. Right? Jake has that in them as well. All right. The same way Jake loves, Jake hates. And Yahweh Shemeshai has given his hopeful elect the same kind of emotions, but the hopeful elect control it right now. They don't spaz out, or what Jake would say today is crash out, because you got to control it. All right? You got to control it. Let Yahweh Shemeshai, okay, fight your battles for you. Cast your burdens upon Yahweh Shemeshai. He shall not suffer the righteous to be moved. Loosely paraphrasing the scripture there. Okay? Doesn't mean you get your ass handed to you. If somebody tries to fight you, tries to hurt you, or tries to come in your personal space where they could try and headbutt you or punch you or hurt you, they're in your peripheral. You think this motherfucker's moving a little bit too loose. You're with your woman, your wife, children, your girlfriend, children, whatever. You're with your mother, whatever, your parents. All right, you're with your loved ones. As long as they don't mess with you or your family, you let it be. Let them stare. Let them give you what do you call them? Ice grill. As New York Jake would say, let them ice grill you. That's nothing. We got bigger fish to fry. That's a test in itself. This whole process that we're going through is a test. This is all purification process. Like gold is tried in the fire, right? Acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. You are bearing your cross. The Lord deems you acceptable, Jake. Hence the reason why you're still enduring. You know why? Because you have faith. You have faith. Hebrews 11 verse 1. For faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Okay? You have faith. Hence the reason why you pray. You pray multiple times a day. Pray before you eat. Pray before you work out. Pray before you leave the house. You're in a humble, austere, confident spirit. You've got spiritual confidence. Okay? You have faith, and you do what you do because you have faith, and you believe, because all this work will result in the kingdom being established on earth, and Lord willing, you make it in the first trip. Okay? If you're studying for an exam and you've got the exam coming in 6 months' time, or you don't know when that exam would be, wouldn't you keep studying for it? An hour a day, 2 hours a day, revising until the test comes. If you don't revise, how are you going to pass that test? All right. This whole process that you're going through is a test for the bigger test. Hence the reason why the Lord is making you go over hurdle and hurdle after hurdle, and you bring building up your faith, building up your faith, building up your faith for that great trial to come. Okay. Hence the reason why uh, hence the reason why you hopeful elect are involved and did the Passover feast, right? And are in the Passover, not avoiding leaven, all right? Avoiding unclean things, everything's unclean. Even if you eat lawful foods, you don't know what Esau puts in the damn thing, and you're supposed to be eating lawful foods, by the way. I'm not saying that you eat unclean foods. I'm just saying, even if you eat lawful foods, you don't know what Esau puts in it. You brush your teeth, you don't know what Esau could be putting pork juice and toothpaste. They do all sorts of shit, all right? Okay, I'm saying all that to say this. You got faith. That's why you do what you do. You have faith. You have belief. All these things are belief. And it's like a magnet that pulls you. John 15:16. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. You cannot choose the Lord. The Lord chooses you. The Lord is pulling you. There's something inside you. Yahweh Shemeshai is saying to you, spiritually saying, knock you on your brain, pray before you eat. Pray before you leave the house. And make a video, right? Say these things. Proverbs 20:24. Man's goings of the Lord, then how can a man understand his own ways? All right? Why is the Lord saying this to you? All right? Because you are convinced. You believe. Okay? And if you don't do it, you feel empty inside. You're going to look, you feel like, oh, shit. Yahweh Shemeshah can just send that lightning bolt anytime and, delete you. It feels like that. You watch Elder Apostle Rakai Allah, man. One of my favorite apostles, the elder apostle, who's a very keen boxer, by the way. One of my favorite elders, and all my favorite. But we got our all favorite teachers, right? We got our favorite teachers. He would when he makes a video, say, "I'm about to leave the house. I'm making a quick video right now." Because I can feel the spirit, man. The Lord, the elder don't feel right until you do the video and leave the house. An elder makes many videos a day. All our elders make 10, 15 videos. Well, some of them even make 7, 8 videos a day. That heavy spirit is on the elders, man. Everyone's got their own office, right? Okay? The hopeful elect do this because they believe, all right? And part of the belief system is bearing your cross. You're not supposed to be comfortable here. You're not supposed to make it in this world. All right? Making it in this world is satanic worship, because this world is all on a satanic vibration. All right? You think you're going to believe, praise Yahweh Shemeshai, and believe in Yahweh Shemeshai, you're going to be a successful rapper? You're going to be a successful movie artist and work with Denzel Washington and Eddie Murphy and that? You're going to have a talk show successful like Arsenio Hall in the 90s? And you're going to praise Yahweh Shemeshai. You're going to be on the talk show wearing your garment with your staff in your hand, praising Yahweh Shemeshai and interviewing other Jakes and how they're successful and how they made millions or whatever? This is not our rest, Jake. Loosely paraphrasing the scripture. This is not our rest. This is all a test of endurance. Do you get tired and fall by the wayside, or do you make it through? You keep going and going and going. Yes, we feel tired. Some days on the weekends, I don't feel like doing a damn thing. I want to stay indoors and hibernate, because Esau is wearing out the saints of the Most High. All right? I'm not saying I'm anything special, but the Esau is wearing out the elect. I mean, the hopeful elect. Right? But we still get things done. It might take a little while. You prioritize, but you still get it done. And when you compare to what you're doing, when you were doing in the world, you're doing a heck of a lot more, but you feel that you're not doing enough. But then that is also, you've got to give yourself balance so you can go on for what? Because this is a marathon and it's not a race. Okay? So, you've got to endure your cross, and you've got to endure your humiliation process. I was going to make a different video, but the spirit went this way. Before you get that honor, right, you're going to go through humiliation process. All right? You're going to go through humiliation process, man. Now, I'll give you an example. If you're a good-looking guy, you're a good-looking Jake, right? You're a handsome guy, right? All right? And I don't need to say that pause shit, because I'm not a faggot, okay? But you can, as a Jake, you can see when someone is comely, because those of us that got daughters, if you're going to choose an Israelite husband for your daughter, you're going to say, oh, that dude, the man's comely. He's like 6'3", he's handsome, he's got a good job, he works in construction, he can provide, he's got a balanced temperament, he's an Israelite, he knows the truth, he knows the name. I like that guy, you know, to be a husband for my daughter, because no Jake man wants to give his daughter away to some fat ugly guy. To be honest with you, let's be real, right? You know what I mean? Because when you see your daughter married to a Jake, you want to see like a beautiful looking couple. You want to see your son married to a beautiful looking Israelite girl, or even if your son has a concubine, you want to see like a beautiful looking couple, right? Um, so as you're going to go through. Yeah, I'm saying all that to say this: you're going to go through humiliation. And what I was trying to say is, see, I always go around the block a few times. Yeah, before honor comes humility, right? You're going to go through humiliation, man. If you're a good looking guy, what I was trying to say is, and back in the day, women easily came to you. You easily got them. It wasn't really hard at all. You didn't even have to try, and you weren't even pursuing a woman. You walked into a store, you're buying some beers or whatever, and there's a cute checkout girl, or whatever. She's whispering into her friend's ears, and then her friend comes over and she starts talking to you. And before you leave the place and before you even paid, you got her phone number. I'm talking about myself. That's how it used to happen. Now, and I'm not saying I'm comely, I'm like Shamar Moore or anything. I'm just saying, when you're a younger man, right? If you're in decent shape or you're a young guy, right? You got a decent head of hair, right? You're gonna get the ladies, right? And and then it comes to a point in life where you look pretty much the same, and women give you googly eyes, and then they give you that look, right? And then when you go and approach them, they go cold on you because that spirit left them. And you think, what the fuck? Am I bugging out here? Didn't you just check me out and smile? Didn't you just? I turned around and I looked at you. You was looking at me. Then I turned around a second time and you were looking at me and smiling. Then I walk up to you the third time, and then here you are behaving this way. Then you think to yourself, what the fuck is going on? And that's a form of humiliation. You think that, damn, what's going on? What's going on? That's a form of humiliation. All right. And it's always, and what kind of forms of humiliation you got to go through. All right. Whatever's personal to you. I'm just giving an example there because this one is a big kick in the gut for most men. You look in the mirror and think, what the fuck is wrong with me? I shower, at least twice a day. I change my drawers every day. I smell good. I iron my clothes. I make myself presentable. I comb my hair. I'm moisturized. I got, my cocoa butter on my face. I got a little cologne on. I'm not overdone it. Got like one little squirt of cologne on. I'm smelling fresh. What the fuck is going on? But that's all part of the process. All right? Proverbs 18:12. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. Before you were man, back, you were in the world, you were immersed. Things were, you had your ups and downs, but you didn't know why it was. You just thought, okay, that's just the way the world is. All right? You saw everybody progressing, but you had your little blessings here and there. All right? The Lord blessed you a job. You got it quickly, but you didn't last in it long. The Lord gave you a woman. You got it quickly, but it didn't last very long. You went through process after process after process. Why? Leading you like a pinball into the direction Yahweh Shemeshah wants you to go. And that was, for me, because I never had the internet at home at that time, went to the library, and I came across the videos of the men of the Lord, and I woke up. Okay? So you as a hopeful elect have to go through your endurance, your humiliation process, and deal with your cross. Okay? And you should also be praying that this captivity speeds up. I know I've said a whole bunch of stuff, but ultimately what this video was about was simply dealing with the humiliation process, dealing and bearing your cross, because through all this, the Lord is dealing with you because the Lord is giving understanding. The Lord is pulling you in to make you pray more, to make videos, and to watch the elders. And the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yashai, when you feel, you feel that the Lord, when you feel that, what's going on, you feel like you're about to give up the ghost or whatever, or drop, the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yeshua shows you a spiritual number. It could be a 555, a 144, a 441, a 111, a 444. You know, you can see a chariot flying through the sky. You might see a rainbow. The Lord gives you these blessings to quench your spiritual thirst so you can keep going and going and going. All right. And we can see Brakti Habashim Ashai. And I just said it and it's happened. 144. It's 1:44 p.m. right now. All right. That's an example there. All right. And I just saw 333 on the clock, which means confirmation or understanding as well. Okay. And I'm learning all this from Elder Kazaki Allah, man. One of my favorite teachers. I believe he's from the Mississippi camp. And as Elder would say, he still used to be formerly part of GMS Chicago, but he is he's with the brothers in the spirit, which is, you know, our elders, man, got some beautiful spirits, man. Prophets, man. You know, it's like the X-Men, but everyone's got their own little, you know, their little own realm of teaching, you know, like everyone's got their own power. It's like that. But nevertheless, I say all that to say this, you know, let's go back to the verse of the day again. Man, I waffle on a lot, don't I? Slack you for that. And whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. All right, you're not going to be Yahweh Shemeshai's disciple and everything's hunky-dory. You're going to go through the process. You're going to go through the process of having no money, having some money, having then eventually after a long while, it could be months, it could be years, you're going to get some balance in life. You're still going to be going through hell, but you're going to be in more of a balanced environment. You know what I mean? Things ain't going to be perfect, but the Lord's going to, give you enough. Okay, the Lord ain't going to make you poor or rich. The Lord's going to keep you balanced out, so you can have a few nice things through hard work, right? So you got to bear your cross, man. You know, I can get intricate into different crosses people got to bear about, is mental, physical, and spiritual. You know, another cross could be, like, oh man, a mental thing where if you got that mental issue and you got OCD as well. You're constantly checking doors, locks, looking around your car, underneath your car to make sure everything's okay. These kinds of things you've got to do because we're in that time where people are doing crazy shit. But that's ultimately the Lord just increasing your spiritual alarm system, so you can watch out for, bumps in the road, and also brothers out there, pray without ceasing. That's another thing. Pray without ceasing. The hopeful elect are going to pray without ceasing. Okay. And the hopeful elect are praying daily that this captivity speeds up and we go home soon. All right. Because we sure as hell don't want to be here forever. All right. And I hope the video is edifying. I know I said a lot, I guess, as our elders would say, a righteous rant. And I did mention some scriptures. I read some scriptures. You've got to bear your cross because this is not going to be a cakewalk. This is not going to be easy. And the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yeshua is dealing with you, hopeful elect. That's why you go through what you go through. And the Lord is delivering you. So when the greater trials come, you're ready for it. You've done your warm-up sets and you're ready for that heavy bench press, which is, the last few seconds of this kingdom. Okay, because our Lord Yahweh Shai is at the door and he's returning soon. All praises, honor, glory, and blessings and power be unto Abanoah Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash, Mawathabad Babal, Kwam Yashrala, Shalom.